and our NFL analyst, Mike Tannenbaum, Gary Streisky, and myself. We'll try to keep up. Adam, what can you tell us about the Giants' interest in Shedeur Sanders?
Well, it's not only Shedeur Sanders, it's all the quarterbacks they plan to work out privately in the next 3 days. Shedeur Sanders today, Jalen Milroe in Alabama tomorrow, and Tyler Shuck on Saturday in Louisville. So the Giants are going through all their work to examine all backs, but today they are in Boulder with Shedeur Sanders, who they've spent an inordinate amount of time with throughout the season, the off-season, leading up to the draft. They want any and all information, and I think they're trying to build consensus within their own organization to see if they can come to a conclusion about whether to draft Shedeur Sanders, where to draft Shedeur Sanders, whether it's at 3, trading back into the first round, finding another spot in the draft to get him. But they are trying to figure out which quarterback they want to invest in a week from tonight when the draft kicks off in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Mike T., that being said, the Giants, they have a lot of leaks to sort of tend to. Where should their main focus be ahead of next Thursday?
Gary, the quarterback, and the quarterback. Okay. If the four of us were running the New York Giants and we're competing against Dak Prescott, Jayden Daniels, and Jalen Hurts, until we solidify the quarterback position long-term, no disrespect to Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston, we got to get a good young quarterback to build around. And look, I know last year the Giants worked out quarterbacks late in the process. It's highly unusual to do it this late. And to me, my instincts and experience says they don't have alignment in terms of the order. You've been looking at these players, Shedeur Sanders, for over 18 months. What else do you need to know about it? So to me, maybe the head coach wants one quarterback, maybe the offensive coordinator wants another. It's just unusual to see the timing of these workouts.
Mike T., when you put it in that perspective as it relates to just quarterbacks in the NFC East, yikes, that is an uphill climb for the G-men. Meanwhile, Adam, Aaron Rodgers remains a free agent. How close are we, if we're close at all, to Rodgers putting pen to paper here?
Gary, you would think that this would be a natural time for Aaron Rodgers to give the Pittsburgh Steelers an answer, but this is Aaron Rodgers after all, and we don't know what is normal and regular for him. The Steelers' offseason program kicks off next week. The draft, as we mentioned, a week from tonight. Ideally, you'd want your quarterback there for the start of the offseason program, especially if he's signing with a new team, playing in a new offense with new teammates and new coaches and a new playbook. You'd want him there for the start of the offseason program. But this is Aaron Rodgers. He moves on his timeline. And the Steelers have been waiting days, if not weeks, for an answer. I don't know that they know when they're going to be getting an answer. It could be today. It could be next week. It could be next month. Nobody knows for sure with Aaron Rodgers. But the longer it goes on, the more it makes you wonder how interested he is in Pittsburgh and what's delaying a decision. Because if you want the Steelers and you're interested in the Steelers, go sign with the Steelers, and he hasn't done that yet.
Mike T., let's say we're running the Steelers now, right? We're running the Giants in the previous scenario. If we are running Pittsburgh's front office, how loudly are these alarm bells ringing here with no Rodgers and the draft 1 week from tonight?
Extremely. And again, is Aaron Rodgers waiting on Minnesota? We don't know. And by the way, last year, his QBR was towards the bottom of the league. It was 25th. Context is Daniel Jones' QBR was 26, and Anthony Richardson was 27. So we're not even talking about an in-your-prime Aaron Rodgers. So that's why I think it's paramount, Randy, for us as the Steelers to move up from 21, get in the top 10, get Shedeur Sanders, get Jackson Dart. You just gave up $30 million a year in a second-round pick for DK Metcalf. I am sure the Steelers aren't planning on Mason Rudolph being their opening day quarterback.
Adam, I want to get to a different scare here. Alarm bells down at Augusta this past week. Famously, the rule is no phones on the course. So a young football fan runs up to you and breaks news of an NFL trade to Adam Schefter?
Well, yeah, you mentioned no phones. You're not allowed to have your phone all day. So you go into the Masters knowing that. And it was a great day with lots of pleasant, polite people over the 2 days there. But right before I left, some young fan came running up, charged me, and said, "Did you hear about the humongous NFL trade?" And I will be honest that my heart sank from my chest into my stomach. And I said, "What trade did I miss while I was here on the golf course?" Yeah. And he said, "Just joking." And I said, "That's not very funny."
It's not very funny.
What I'm trying to say, though, is the IRS instituted the Augusta rule so homeowners could rent their houses. I think they should institute the Adam Schefter rule, where if Adam Schefter is on grounds, he's allowed to have his phone, just him. Our football analyst, EJ Manuel, joining the program. EJ, fantastic to see you. We can see up to 3 quarterbacks selected in the first round. So, takes one to know one. Give us some of these player comps with some of these quarterback prospects. Let's start with Cam Ward.
Good morning, Gary. Yeah, for Cam Ward out of Miami, I'm going Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers. And the big thing I see from both of these quarterbacks is gunslinger mentality. And even if you ask Ward, he'll tell you he's a gunslinger. He's not shy about it, man. He's going to try to take that vertical pass. He's going to try to thread that needle. And also the ability to still use their athleticism. I think some people kind of sleep on the fact that Cam Ward is a very agile quarterback. Some of these moves he's making here to get out of the pocket and throw it accurately is a part of being a great athlete. Reminds me a lot of Jordan Love. For the next quarterback, Jackson Dart. This was a tough one because I saw Kirk Cousins, but I also saw some Derek Carr. When I look at the Kirk Cousins part, I'm thinking the accuracy. I'm thinking the timing. I'm thinking of playing within the system. And, Dart did a great job of that at Ole Miss. He was leading the SEC with 69% completions. He worked the ball down the field. You saw a bunch of games where he was over 300, 350, 400 yards passing, so he can carry that over to the NFL. The third quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. I throw up my watch here. Jared Goff is who comes to mind because, again, just a level of poise, a level of staying within the pocket, the framework of an offense, knowing, hey, look, I'm going to stay in this thing, keep my eyes down the field, and allow my receivers to cook. I really like Shedeur Sanders. He's somebody who you turn the tape on. Sure, he might hold on to the ball a little too long sometimes, but he has the ultimate level of confidence, and I really think he can be a pro, similar to what you've seen in Jared Goff, especially early on in his career.
Man, I bet you Shedeur Sanders, if he's listening to this, hopes he goes to a place that has weapons like Jared Goff has in Detroit. Let's stay down on Shedeur. Working out for the Giants today. Should New York, EJ, in your estimation, take Sanders third overall or address the quarterback situation later in the draft?
Address it later in the draft.
Okay.
And look, Gary, this isn't because I don't think Shedeur is worthy of the third overall pick. His talent certainly could be in the top 5, top 10. My thing for the Giants is you need to win right now. And if you already have some veteran quarterbacks like a Russell Wilson, like a Jameis Winston, if Travis Hunter out of Colorado, if Abdul Carter is there at 3, you got to take him, Gary. So I understand you may love Shedeur. He's not going to be in the second round. He's going to be a first-round quarterback.
Sure.
But I would address getting one of those guys like a Hunter who can play on offense and defense, or a lockdown edge rusher in Abdul Carter. So I think if you can get to the second round, if Jalen Milroe's still there, that would make a lot of sense. He could be a developmental quarterback. He could sit behind one of your starters, like I said, the veterans with Wilson or Jameis Winston. So this will be interesting, though, because I know a lot of people are kind of linking Shedeur to the Giants. But personally, I would much prefer Shedeur go somewhere else. And then also the instability right now. I mean, again, the Giants, they got to win. So, Gary, if they don't start the season strong in September, October, who knows what might happen to the head coach or the GM. So I would prefer Shedeur go somewhere else. Take a quarterback in the second round.
Okay, Jalen Milroe, we saw the tape right there, who is going to have a private meeting again with the Giants, and as well as Louisville's Tyler Shuck, also scheduled to meet with the Giants, who have the third overall pick, but also the 34th overall pick as it sits right now. EJ, much appreciated.
Thank you, brother.
Far from done with that. Listen, Big Blue working out Shedeur Sanders today. Adam Schefter with the very latest on how likely it is that the Giants come away with their quarterback of the
Chào cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Rồi hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục dẫn các bạn làm vòng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là hạt nhựa. Mọi người, hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là hạt điều. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nha. Đi đi. Mọi người ơi, đây một trắng nha. Mọi người hai màu đây.